peeps, today I want to show you how to make professional looking Montessori matching cards. These will be simple matching cards where it's just a picture and the word label. So not too complicated, but it's a great way to dip your toes in and get started on making your own professional level cards. So let's get to it. So the first thing you're going to have to decide is which software you want to use. The most popular that I see most people using is Canva. I personally don't use Canva. I find it a bit finicky, but Canva can be free. It depends on which kind you get. Some can be quite expensive. I personally don't use it because, again, I find it kind of finicky and I don't like paying subscriptions for it. Another option is Scribble, which is open source and completely free. It is the most similar to what I use, which is Affinity Publisher. And you can download it here. I find that it doesn't have as many features as Affinity Publisher and it's just not quite as smooth. And then I use Affinity Publisher 2, which it is not free. It's $70, but you don't pay a subscription for it. So I feel like it's worth it, especially since I make a lot of things myself. If you're not making a lot of your own cards, then Canva or Scribble will probably be perfectly fine for you. Yeah, so then $70 window. You can also get it for iPad. I've never worked with it on iPad, so I don't know how well that works or if it has the same exact features as PC. You can also get it on a Mac if you have a Mac instead of PC. Now, without further ado, when you first open up Affinity Publisher, you're going to push Control-N or New, File New, and then you'll get this screen right here. I turn off facing pages, and I like to go to margins and turn all of them to 0.5. What you want your margins to be will depend a little bit on your printer. Different printers have different abilities for the margins. And then you'll see the blank white page. And we're gonna make just a simple card. I like to go to this tool, which is your shapes. You can see all the different shapes you can choose. I'm gonna pick a rounded rectangle. And then I'm just gonna make a card. I'm going to make a shape just like that. And I'm going to make it dotted. And if you pick color, you can pick what shade you want. I want it to be light gray. Hi, Navi. How are you? And I want the inside to be white. So I'm going to drag this to white. Make sure our stroke is big enough to see. And then you can play with what it looks like on the side. So I want this to be our dotted cutting guides, but those lines are too close together. So you can play with these and just put different amounts. Kind of see. Now we have a much bigger line, much smaller. And then I want that to actually be even lighter. So I'm going to play with the opacity right here and make them a bit more see-through so that when you print, it's not going to be as in your face. So now we have a light cutting line. And then inside of that, I'm going to make another rounded rectangle. And this is going to be our main shape for our card. So we're going to go to stroke, make it solid, and I'm going to change the color to black, and I want the opacity to be solid as well. So now you can see we have the outer cut line and then the interior card space. So the next thing we want to do is add a picture frame. Now you can do this in two different ways. You can do the rounded shape and just turn off that, and then you can convert it to a picture frame, which is what I usually do so that it can match the other. And up here you can see that we have different corners. So what you can do is change each corner if you want this part to be flat on the bottom. You can change to different shapes. If you want, I usually just stick with rounded. I feel like rounded makes it look more professional. So I usually use that. And then you need a text box. So we're gonna go over here to the text frame tool. And I really like Affinity because it has all of these guidelines and you can have it snap to everything, which is very convenient. And then I'm going to pick, I like to use KG Primary, which you can get for free, or you can also use Primary Print. It's how I teach the kids to write, so it makes sense to have the same thing. Make it a little bit bigger, and let's say we're gonna do a gorilla. And over here, I'm going to make it go down. It's already centered, which is perfect. And then we might make it a little bit bigger. If you want it to be perfectly centered on the card, just drag this over to the edges and then it will be right in the middle. Drag that down a little bit. And then what you want to do is replace image. It comes up with all your files. I'm going to go to, geography, let's say Africa, animals, find my gorilla, double click, and then it will automatically fill whatever shape you have as your photo. Now we could make this wider so that it will fill up the space a little bit better. I find that the thing that makes things look most professional is all these little fine details. So making sure that you don't have a lot of wasted space is very important. So now that you have a basic template, we're going to refine it a little bit to make it a little bit more professional. The best way to do that is to check this box for a single radius. Then you're going to change it to none for the two bottom sections. It just makes the image flow a little better, and it makes the stop from the words make sense more in your brain. So now we have some pretty professional looking cards. If you want to take it one step further, you can go to the tool, the shape tool again, get the rectangle, take it to the edge, and you want just a small rectangle. And the inside of that, we're going to do green. Make sure opacity is back up completely. And if you push Control and then scroll, it will let you zoom in. So I'm going to zoom in just to make sure that this is exactly where I want it. Alright, so it's still a little bit off, so I'm going to zoom in even more and make sure it's just exactly where it needs to be. Right at that edge. And if you want to get super duper fancy, you could add a little symbol of Africa right there. To do that, we just need a little circle. This is a photo picture frame. I'm going to put it right here on the edge. And then I'm going to find my Africa continent image. And I'm going to put a little line around it so it's easier to see. So those final finishing touches really make a huge difference in your cards. So when you think you're done, go one step further. And then the easiest way to, of course, get this applied to all the other cards is to just copy and paste. And then all you have to do is change the word and the image. It's much faster than recreating the entire card. So there you have it. That is how you can make simple Montessori matching cards. Next time I am probably going to do a video about making 3-part cards, which are a little bit more complicated, but still not too bad. That's what I use the most. But for the younger grades, especially in a primary classroom, matching would be the card that you use the most. So I thought I'd start with that. Well, I hope you guys all have a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, peeps!